Welcome once again to another edition of our women's program, Karimpe. Today we are gathered here in the studios to discuss once again about the elimination of violence and how we talk about violence and how it can be eliminated from our society. When we talk about violence, well, violence against women and girls is one of the most widespread, persistent, and devastating human rights violation. And it is said that over the years, it has only been increasing, so much so that at least 1 out of 3 women and girls experience violence in the whole world. Well, talking about violence, often it goes unreported because of the impunity, of the silence, of the shame, of the stigma that is attached towards it. Now, when we talk about violence against women and girls, it can be physical, it can be sexual, it can be psychological. Well, we will also be talking about digital violence that has become, with the coming of AI, has become so widespread. We will be talking about human trafficking, especially trafficking of girls and children. Well, keeping the enormity of this problem and the situation around us, even the UN has, in fact, started a campaign called 16 Days Activism, where it begins from the 25th of November, which is marked in the UN calendar as the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And this 16 days activism ends on the 10th of December, which is considered and observed as Human Rights Day. Well, we have always been speaking against it. We have tried our best in different sections of our programs to speak about violence, why it still persists, and to raise awareness and the consciousness of the society and the citizenry at large. So we are here gathered once again to talk about violence against women and girls and how it can be controlled and eliminated once and for all. So joining me in the studio to my extreme left, we are being joined with Kiran Lingdo Maunai. She is Inspector of Police from the Anti-Infiltration Directorate, Shillong. We are also being joined by Ms. Soma Gupta. She is an assistant teacher in English from Shillong Jail Road Boys Higher Secondary School. So I hope you will be there with us to enjoy this program, to understand the whole gamut of it, as I heartily welcome our panelists to this program. Thank you so much, both of you. I know you all are both very busy people. One is in the education line and another, and you, of course, in an area where we see you all the time so active. But you all have taken your time out to speak from your experience about violence against women and girls. Thank you. I would like to come to you, Soma, right away. As I said in the beginning, that 25th of November is observed as the day, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. We keep talking about it. And yet, there is a day that is marked literally, in the calendar of the UN to raise awareness. How important, how significant is this day that we talk about it again and again?
Well, the very fact that we observe a day to talk about elimination of violence against women is itself a statement which proves that violence against women and girls do exist in society. It's not only constricted to a state or the country as a whole, but it is widespread and it is seen in the world at large. So elimination of violence is it is a very, very important issue that we need to talk about. It has been there prevalent during the ancient times, and sadly, even in the 21st century, when we have come a lot ahead in terms of education in different sectors of life, we still have this problem pertaining in society, and we are still talking about it, and we are still fighting and raising awareness about it.
Absolutely.
This itself is, this itself is a
shows how significant
yes,
this
it is a very significant issue, and we need to raise awareness about it in every sector.
Yeah. So let me come to you, Ma'am Kiran. Because as she said, it is a worldwide phenomenon. It is not, prevalent only in a certain area or a state or the country. It is everywhere in some form or the other. You are from the, from the department where you are dealing, you are called often for such actions to be taken when you get reports, etc., right? If not absolutely in it, but your department, as I say, the police department. So what is the scenario like when we are talking about violence against women in the state of Meghalaya? How prevalent, how persistent it is, and do you feel it has only been increasing over the years, even in a matrilineal state of Meghalaya?
Well, ma'am, no matter, like, we have been conducting awareness, like, in almost all the districts in Meghalaya, but we cannot deny the fact that the crime against women are increasing. So, with my experience, I can tell you that most of the cases, they go unreported as well.
Right.
Because the crime occurs within the four walls and within the relationship. So, and some victims, they fear the delay in justice, the procedures that they have to go through. Because of certain reasons also, they don't want to report the cases. And in cases where do they come, government has adopted many strategies to access the legal justice and give legal remedies to the survivors also, and the perpetrators are punished accordingly. So women and girls should come forward. We are always there 24/7 for them, and they should not hesitate. We are their friends, and yes, we are always there for them to help.
Yeah, absolutely. That is no denial of the fact that you all are like foot soldiers literally everywhere. We see you right from the morning till the late night, doing your duties. That goes undeniably. But then coming back to this whole problem that we are talking about, Soma, often there is so much of stigma attached to it. The silence is literally palpable. It happens, as ma'am said, that it happens within the four walls of your home, and that makes it even more shrouded in mystery and in silence.
Absolutely.
Right? Do you think this also encourages the perpetrators to go away because we are often so silent, and families hush it up, and therefore also perpetrators go scot-free, and therefore there is an increase of it every time more, you feel?
Absolutely, because these kind of crime, if you take a note of this and if you look at the case studies, I recall vividly, I had read an article by Madam Patricia Mukim, where she mentions that, as you have also mentioned towards the beginning of the program, that there's always a case where 1 out of 3 women are the sufferers, and most of the time the criminals or the wrongdoers are from the family itself. A lot of things happen within the four walls of the house, and this culture of silence, where many feminists have spoken about it. Surprisingly, there are feminists all over the world who have spoken about the culture of silence, and they think it would be a taboo, or they would be ostracized from the society. They would be sidelined and labeled, and hence these cases go unreported. Especially when you talk about matrilineal system, it's rather a complex system. When we talk about matrilineal system in Meghalaya, and we talk about lineage being being carried on from the side of the woman, sadly, when you see and when you look at the deeper perspective, the patrilineal issues have also merged into the system, as a result of which there is a kind of dominance that is coming over. Sometimes it results from frustration of the male members, because they are not able to inherit property and things like that. So many cases at home go unreported, and this is a very sad case, and things do not come up to the forefront, also because there are cases when these cases go unreported, also because there is a delay in the system of justice.
Yeah.
So many women fear that, and it's not only confined to the rural sectors, even in the urban area as well, these cases go unreported. That is very sad and unfortunate.
That's true. And coming to Madam Kiran again, lately we have seen so many violence, especially being perpetrated to young children also, young little girls. And I mean, recently from the police department, they have even given that recent case where a boy who is hardly 12 or 13 years old, who perpetrated the crime, was actually accessible to lurid sites So let's come to therefore to the digital violence that is so much prevalent, right? Because this is, and this year, in fact, the thrust for this day is elimination, to unite towards the elimination of digital violence that occurs. Coming to the digital violence, there are all kinds of digital violence with AI, with artificial intelligence being so active today. Call it cyberbullying, call it stalking. All kinds, are there behind the screen, and children and little girls are unaware what do you have to talk about this kind of digital violence that is also increasing, and it's one of the fastest growing form of violence, in fact.
Ma'am, this is a very important issue, and the crime which is increasing, it's just increasing every day. And coincidentally, even my helper at home, she told me this morning that she has been cheated with 15,000 rupees. She was on this online chatting app called K Friends.
Okay.
So they got in touch on this app, and then after they continued in WhatsApp. Then this guy said, like, okay, I'm sending you some gifts for the clearance, you have to do some payments, wherein she has borrowed the money and given him 15,000 rupees now. Immediately I told her, and everyone should know, whenever such frauds happens, first of all to call 1930 number, and then after they will guide you what next steps to be done.
Right.
So I can only request and urge the girls, women, and even the boys also, you should have the knowledge, you should have the education, you should be independent, and you should be strong. These things, if you have it with you, no one can harm you. And if you are in any such situation, have confidence, stand up, step in, and shout out and help anyone who is facing violence and abuse.
That's very, very important, but still dwelling on this, cyber aspect of the violence, which so many girls are falling victim to, even trafficking for that matter. Recently, I was watching a video where a little girl from Arunachal Pradesh was being taken, and luckily somebody intervened in the train. She was a young school-going girl of just class 6. She befriended a laborer, and there the faith and the friendship grew, so much so that she was willing to leave, and luckily somebody intervened in the train, and they thought it was unusual that a school-going girl was going with somebody who didn't look like her. So such acts are so random. Soma, what do you have to say about it? Because, one needs to be so careful. Young girls, young women especially. Police department is so often giving such circulars, right? Notifications keeps coming. Yet it continues to rise.
Well, there's a popular English proverb that charity begins at home. I think, we need to talk about this right from the family. It should start from the family itself. And the fact that, we talk about sexual violence, mental violence, physical violence, or cheating of any kind, this aspect has to be brought to light in the family without thinking of it as a restriction or a taboo. These kind of things should be made, this should be spoken about very clearly. Awareness must be raised in the family. Secondly, in schools and colleges, these aspects has to be brought to light. As you have spoken about the elimination of violence, or National Women's Day, or Mother's Day, for instance, I think these kind of days should be specifically observed in schools and colleges just to raise awareness. Only when this awareness is raised among young children, then they get to know about what kind of crime is happening in society. And once they are aware of it, they know how to deal with it, because many of them are unaware of this. And since it's a taboo, sadly, even in I have spoken to certain colleagues and a lot of people, and they say that speaking of these kind of violence is still a taboo, because when they talk about it, you are sidelined, you are hushed up, which is rather surprising at this point of time when we are in the 21st century, when we have violence of so many kind, and when we have cyber crimes happening at random paces. This awareness has to be taken into consideration and has to be immediately incorporated.
But then having said so, there is plenty an amount of awareness drives that is happening. Both in radio, in television, in all kinds of platforms, in colleges, in seminars, in so many other places. Even the police does it. yet it is only but increasing. What do you have to say that, why is the society, are we going behind really? Or do you see some kind of a struggle where women are trying to assert themselves, which they couldn't do once upon a time? They're coming out of their domain where they were restricted and kept back. And therefore the challenge, because women are now more proactive, more in the front. What is leading to this violence despite all the awareness drives that is happening?
That is the question, ma'am. Even I'm still looking for the solution. What is where are we lacking? We are giving so much of awareness. So much of awareness is given through the media, through whatever you can say it. Still they fall prey and become victim for the digital crimes, cyber crimes. And so I can also say, please don't fall prey anymore. You have to think and
use your mind, really.
Use your mind.
Where you're going,
these people,
what
they are smart enough to lure you, but don't be fooled. Don't get fooled.
Yeah, and Soma, like as I said, violence is unabated in the sense, despite all the awareness drives, despite all the education that we are giving. I mean, if both men and women are getting educated, I mean, we are not. Do you think there's a past struggle somewhere, and that's the root in it?
There has been. When you look into history or when you look into the society, the discrimination itself, that the gender parity did never exist, because initially when you look into the root of this discrimination or oppression, you see that there has always been some kind of physiological difference between male and females.
Okay.
And because of the physiological differences, males have always taken the role outside the house to do heavy work and to earn the bread, while women, because of their physiological differences, they have remained within the domains, more of the homekeeper and staying at home and looking after the household members and doing the household chores. So from there onwards, that that dominance began when males thought that we are the bread earners, we are the ones who are bringing the money and bread at home, so we should have the upper hand.
But hasn't that changed now over
No,
the years?
sadly.
We have a uniformed, panelist here with us.
Sadly speaking, this hasn't changed. And then I feel, men also, apart from women or apart from girls being, educated about it and made aware of it, even men should also come to the forefront. They should also speak about this, and they should be made aware of this. They should be made aware about their limitations, while women should be made aware of their rights. So once that is done, the parity will be there. And another point I would like to add over here, you have mentioned about the cyber sector, you've mentioned about social media. That is causing a lot of harm than good, because since social media is accessible to one and all, especially after COVID, even children have access to that. Sadly, they are not aware of which sites to access to. They are
one site can lead to another.
Yes, absolutely. And there are a lot of pornographic sites and wrong messages that they are that they are accessing or they are drawn to. So even if there are so many kinds of awareness, ma'am has spoken about a lot of awareness programs, and there has still been a rural and urban divide. There are certain sectors in Meghalaya where even the internet facilities are not available to them. They are not accessible to that. So I feel, certain sectors or NGOs or certain groups of people should reach out to them, should educate them, should tell them, and bring this to the forefront and bring it to light. How and in what way can we make changes in the society? As people from the cities, as people who are educated, we should also be reaching out to them. I think that is an important aspect.
Yeah, and it was 1995 when the Beijing Declaration was signed, right? And India is a signatory of the Beijing Declaration, where India also decided that there should be equality between men and women. And this year, in fact, is 30 years of it, since the Beijing Declaration, where 189 countries were signatories of it. So we have come a long way. India has made laws and legislations. There are adequate numbers of, system in place, yet it is so often dodged, and criminals are still scot-free, they are at large, and somebody comes out of the prison and does a repeat crime again to only go back to be arrested or maybe sometime not to be arrested. So now almost drawing towards the end of this discussion. So where the buck stops, in the sense that where can we now draw the line? Where should the education begin from? From what level should education begin between bringing in that equality between boys and girls, between men and women, and speak about it and make sure that society is more on equal terms?
It's a high time, ma'am, that we should know that there is no discrimination, there is no difference between a boy or a girl. The only difference I see is the girls, they have their periods and they give birth. Next to that, there is no any differences. If Mary Kom, she give one punch to any of the boy, they will go flat. So it's the upbringing. The girls have to be strong, and yes, and the boys also, they have to be the part of the solution.
Right.
So it's a joint efforts together.
It's a coordinated effort. And I must ask this question to you in the middle, that, you know, seeing you in this uniform is so wonderful that you could come and sit here, give us your time. That itself should be an inspiration, should be a mirror to so many others who are watching this program, right? That there is actually no difference between what men can do, women can do it even better.
Yes,
like look at the World Cup team, the Cricket World Cup team. We thought it was always a male bastion game, but then we won the World Cup.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So at the end of the day, it all begins in the upbringing. You would
Absolutely,
say that, right?
absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's a kind of, you know, this awareness at home, as I have mentioned, and the culture and the family upbringing and background, that also counts a lot. For those who are, you know, who do not have that because of poverty or because of the division, rural-urban divide, or whatever you may call it, it should begin from grassroots level, from the school. And I feel it's high time, and we should raise awareness, and we should bring up these programs for males and females, especially for the males, because once they realize it, the fact of being a male is not in dominance, but is in giving respect to the opposite sex. So that is what the feminist Simone de Beauvoir says. So I think, you know, we should not, she has spoken about this, about the second sex. So they should not, I feel, you know, to end up and wind up this program, I do not believe in the concept of second sex. We are all equal, and we should talk about equal, you know, there's parity and there should be equality. So there's nothing called the first sex or the second sex. We are all equal.
Absolutely. I mean, when she wrote the book, it was long ago. Maybe there was then, the society was in such a way that we can talk about it.
True.
But from then, we have come so much ahead, and nowadays with digital technology and the kind of technologies we are accessing, we are only but going forward. Yet, when it comes to crimes against women, girls, we are only but going behind. Right? Because it is just increasing, and maybe some crimes are being reported, the media is more you know, focused, and so such things are also coming to light. But then, as a message to all the young girls, to all the young women, you know, what kind of message, inspiration would you give to them, ma'am Kiran, so that they do not think any less of themselves? Because sometimes, you know, we think a little restrictive about ourselves, and we think that we cannot do what the guys or the male members or the men can do.
Ma'am, that we have to remove from our thoughts that what we cannot do that the men can do. We can do anything, ma'am. Like how you've said, the women team won the World Cup.
Right.
So next to that, little bit of self-defense is very important, ma'am.
Right.
So to buy time, to escape, and to seek help. So try to learn the skills of self-defense, and if not, keep yourself healthy and strong. And education is very important, and likewise how that I've said, you have to be financially independent also.
Absolutely.
These are the things important to be.
Economic importance for a woman, because often, you know, Soma, we have seen that a woman continues to remain in an abusive marriage or within the four walls, knowing the fact that she's being abused for so many years because she doesn't have the wherewithal to earn her livelihood.
True,
right?
Absolutely. So I think what Ma'am Kiran has mentioned, it's absolutely true. And financial independence of some kind, whatever sector they are in, or whatever minimal a woman earns, it gives her a sense of confidence.
Absolutely.
It gives her a sense of, it gives her a sense of parity, and she would have her voice. She would be able to, lend her voice and speak against things that are wrong, that are being wronged. So even if something some unfair things happen in society
She
or
will be
with
able to
her,
speak
she'll
up,
be
yeah.
able to speak up for
Speak up,
herself, which is
right.
very, very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So on that note, that's all the time that we have really to speak about it again, you know, and I'm sure that we will do it again. But then we are trying our best. Thank you so much, you know, Ms. Soma Gupta and Ma'am Kiran Lingdor for coming to the studios
Thank you,
and enlightening us once again from your own experience about this problem. And we hope that after this discussion, we will be a little bit more enlightened and a little bit more emancipated. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
your
so
time.
much. Thank you for
Well then,
having
viewers,
us.
that's how our discussion was on the elimination of violence against women as we observe this day. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you've learned something and how to be strong and defend yourself if the situation may come to that. Well, until next time, from all three of us and the entire team of Doordarshan is wishing you goodbye.